evening, Mayor, council members. I don't have a presentation tonight, just wanted to provide an overview on the water CIP and opportunity for some discussion. So this item is on tonight's regularly scheduled council as item number 8. The CIP was put together to assist city staff, public works staff, and finance staff for reviewing future projects and to assist with long-term financial planning and including establishing water rates for users as a lot of these projects come together here over this year and the coming years. A lot of the projects identified here generally follow some of the previous reports that have been presented, specifically the water system planning and hydraulic model report that was presented in early January, and then a few of the well study reports that were completed, and then just a combination of a lot of previous work on the CIP and some of this newer, semi-newer water-related work. It also factors in the capital asset management plan, so a lot of the city's existing system, those costs are also incorporated within the CIP. So the CIP itself has several categories: the water plant, wells, water distribution, which is looping upgrades, water storage, and then studies are some of the categories that are listed. And the CIP lists a 10-year window for tenure for the projects, and then there's a long-term column in there for some of the projects that are in the little bit more distant future, that 10 to 20-year window. The version that's presented in this memorandum is pretty much we'll call it a snapshot in time, and that was one of the topics that was discussed in that water system planning report. Specific years for the improvements will be further identified and updated as development occurs. The needs for water demand or fire flow are identified, and all that, the pending development or future development. So that's kind of a summary there. I don't know if you have that in front of you, if there's any specific questions, items council would like to review, or just general questions about the report or some of the projects. Just wanted that brief overview and allow some time for discussion as necessary.
I'm going to ask kind of just a question that probably could have asked 7 years ago, but you talk about in this memo looping projects for distribution. Can you just talk a little more about what we're getting out of doing water main loops? And we talk about connecting like that in all kinds of projects, but we've never really discussed what exactly that's doing and why that's a good thing to do.
So the concept of looping generally in a water system?
Yeah.
Right, so just recently did a project in the South Floresview neighborhood, and part of that was extending a water main across 371, right? And that was also discussed as a future loop in the system. So generally, and then we can also talk about the far western portion, the Timberwood area, where there's one main going out there. And the looping piece, you factor in, water quality, so dead end lines can impact quality a little bit because they just don't get flushed out as well. You also get fire flow advantages when you have multiple feed points as well. So generally, those are kind of the two big things with water looping is you don't want stagnant water.
Probably the biggest thing is if there's a break in a water main, you can feed that line from another direction. And you can shut off through the valving the section that has the break in it, and you can still continue to provide water for everyone except for in between those two valves that you have to shut off.
Probably happens more often with an electrical system. If you're on the end of a service territory, it's the same concept. I think they use the term backfeed, but it's the same idea. If there's an issue, you have an opportunity to still be in service after a short time. So that's a fair point. Thank you. So those are the three general benefits of looping, and the water system model portion that we talked about before was, really long range and bigger, wider areas and loops around the city. So it can have benefits with fire flow pressure, things of that nature, but hopefully that answered your question. Any other questions?
Look like it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. Oakwood Drive improvement sits on the council agenda tonight under the consent agenda for approval. We put together a memo that outlines proposed improvements and estimate costs, and then the city staff will use that for planning purposes and for updating the draft CIP. So, overview of the project is shown on this drawing right here. There are several reasons why the city is looking at this. One is just to realign the roadway and pull it away from Camp Manasek and Whipple Lake recreational facility, just to provide more room for additional development in that area, expansion of the camp and expansion of the recreational facility. Another reason is for water looping, which we just talked about, extending a 12-inch water main loop along this section of roadway from Clearwater Road to Cedar Scenic Road. The water studies show that that's needed to provide water to the west end of town, specifically to the industrial park for any future development in that area. Also providing Camp Manasek with sanitary sewer, which I'll show you on a separate drawing, and then modifying the trail system to just follow the new roadway alignment. And then just keep in mind when we're going through this probably won't be how the roadway is aligned. We'll get to pick something just to put a cost to it. So this could always change in the future.
Have you worked with the Y and Manasek at all on the site yet?
What was that?
Have you worked with the Y and Manasek on the site yet?
I personally have not.
That might be good. They have some plans, so it would be a good thing to.
I think.
I can expound on that. In that context, community development staff have had conversations, and as you recall, as part of the discussion on the park dedication fees, one of the items that were identified in the 25 budget that's been pushed aside due to financial considerations was the Whipple Beach master plan. That master plan was intended to be conducted at the same time that the YMCA was conducting and finishing up their master plan for Camp Manasek. There has been general discussions since the city acquired the property with previously Camp Manasek and now with the YMCA, the relocation on the road to provide some additional space away from the shoreline to do some improvements if it was warranted or needed in the future. So there's a general understanding that looking at a reconfiguration of the road was in the works or would be part of the look of the master plan. But in the context of specifically location and things of that nature, as Eric has alluded to, this is for conceptual to do cost estimates and not meant to be set in stone. That when the project gets closer, we would be engaging with the YMCA, if not having already started the public process of the Whipple Beach master plan to gain that input. I don't know if you have anything to add, Josh.
Yeah, just to add that there have been discussions about also just working together as we both do our own individual studies of how this landscape would be planned for over time. So from that perspective, there's been really positive discussion about where there could be potential partnerships, where, you know, things like that. So I think both groups were excited at the idea of working together and trying to have those study timeframes align rather than have one complete early and have the other not complete at the same time. So what we've been trying to do is coordinate so that we look at this together, which would be the most effective.
Okay, just some more detail on the proposed improvements. The top drawing here, this is starting at Cedar Scenic and going north. The roadway would just follow the existing alignment for a ways up until about this area, and it's going to curve to the east. This is the continuation of the roadway here. The blue on the drawing would be removals. So we'd be removing part of the road here, leading up to Camp Vanasek, cutting that off in the south, and then removing part of the trail here as well, and running the trail adjacent to the roadway. And then the 12-inch water main connection here and extends, just follows the roadway alignment to the north. I guess water first. We have shown an access road here for Camp Vanasek, and right now that's the water main is running down that road, and then running to the north, tying to the existing water main in this location right here, and that would provide that 12-inch water main loop. Roadway continues, again, about 430 feet east of the existing roadway alignment, providing that area for future development. A new extended roadway connection to the Whipple Lake parking area, and then a trail crossing in this area with a flasher system, and then that trail is run on the west side of the roadway, connecting up to the existing trail system on Clearwater Road. And again, the blue shows that this existing portion of Oakwood Drive would be removed as part of the project. For sanitary sewer for the Camp Vanasek area, we'd be putting in a lift station in this area, and then pumping it to the east and north, tying it to the Clearwater Road project as this outlet. That's basically a summary of the proposed improvements. And then estimated project costs. Sanitary sewer is about $304,000. Water distribution about $716,000. A little bit of storm sewer, about $11,000. Roadway, $943,000. Trail at $403,000 for a total project cost of about $2.4 million. And again, that would just get put into the draft capital improvements plan and just used for planning purposes, and this could definitely change in the future depending on what the ultimate improvements are. Any questions?
Got any comments, sir?
I don't have any.
Trevor?
Any additional comments?
I don't have.
I would just want to add one thing, you know, with the road realignment, one of the other benefits of that would be you've got some sharp curves there on the road, and just one of the things that does help with is would be a safer trail system. You know, with the blind corners, those two sharp corners. So just one thing I did.
Looking at it from the other way it affects me is I'm involved in triathlons.
Right.
So I was trying to visualize if there's an issue here. It looks like we still got two entrances and an exit coming up. Yeah, the road will just, this is be a straight shot out there, I guess. Everything should be fine. Okay, if there's no other questions, then we will.
All right.